Hi guys, just wanted to make a little video. Haven't put anything out for a while, and just a little bit of talk on trimmer line and battery powered whippersnippers that I've noticed. I run 2.4mm line. I run that in my petrol machines now too. I just find that you get a good finish with 2.4. For years and years I ran 2.7 and went down to 2.4, and I noticed how the edges become sort of crisper and you're not leaving such a big trench as your whippersnip. And that was, well, 15 years ago that I swapped to 2.4. Now there's lots of talk about which is the best line. The best line is the line that suits you. I mean, this is the Stihl CF something. That's Stihl normal stuff. This is cross-cut from Bunnings, which is shaped like that. I've been using that a lot. There's Trailblazer and Diamond Edge. Trailblazer and Diamond Edge are actually the same line, it's just the Diamond Edge is square. And the old Diamond Edge, I've noticed with the new Diamond Edge, the edges are actually rounded off. The old stuff was square, like with a sharp square edge, and I went away from that because I found it used to jam in the heads. Using speed feeds, you'd wind it up, and if it packed neatly, like, because you're not watching how it packs, because you can't see it, if it packed really neatly, it could jam, it could get really tight and jam. Round lines, that doesn't happen to generally. Anyway, yeah, like there's guys out there that are going to say this stuff's absolute garbage, that stuff's absolute garbage, that stuff's absolute garbage, and they're using something else which suits them. I used to use years ago a 2.7mm, and it had a solid core in it. I just can't remember what it was called. And that was, I could not use anything else but that line. You know, I was so fanatical, and that was the line I had to use, and I had to buy that line. And I think as you get better at using the whippersnipper, or brush cutter, or line trimmer, whatever you want to call it, bipper dipper, yeah, I think it becomes less important. Obviously there are some lines that are crap. I don't really like this. I have this line because someone cleaned their shed out and gave me a roll, and it happened to be 2.4. So they said, do you want it? And I said, yeah, I'll take it, I'll use it. And it does not wear very well at all. But because it was given to me, I will use it. This stuff here, I don't mind it. And someone sold me a big roll for 20 bucks. They were getting out of the game, and I bought it off them. So I don't mind it. I'm not overly fussed, and this stuff here, it's okay too, I find. And I find with a battery machine that having the edges, the sharper edges like that, it seems to cut better. But this is what I wanted to talk about. I use this machine. It's the Husqvarna 325 ILK, and personally I think it's one of the best battery powered whippersnippers you can get. Why do I think that? Well, the motor's up there, not in the head. I find ones with the motor down in the head, they are unbalanced, and I don't like them. I had the Husqvarna machine with the motor down here and the funny angle on it, and I didn't really like it. I actually sold that machine. This machine comes with a good guard. You can fit a speed feed head straight on it. The only thing that's rubbish, and Husqvarna need to kick up the bum, because they call these machines commercial quality and they put garbage plastic handles on. Just rubbish. I like a bit of like a softer rubbery feel to cushion a bit, because I have a bad wrist, so I always wrap a tennis racket grip around it. But and they're just the things that go in the Green Touch trimmer racks that lock it up, those little blocks. But anyway, this is what I wanted to talk about. We've had a few hot days here lately. This is Newcastle on the east coast of Australia. And on real hot days, sometimes I feel like, oh, the trimmer line's not even cutting, it's so hot. And I'd heard a few blokes talk about using 2mm line. And I've always shied away from 2mm, thinking it was too thin a line, not heavy enough, you know. So I did watch a guy on YouTube, and he was saying how good his 2mm line is, and I thought, oh, you know what, I'm just going to give that a go on this battery machine and see what it's like to use. And this is how much I hated 2mm line. People have given me rolls over the years of 2mm line, and I throw it away because I know it's not going to last. So anyway, this is what I did. I bought a little roll of 2mm line just to try, and that's what this is. And let me tell you, in this machine, for me, I only use this machine on regular lawns, like every fortnight. So if the lawns are any longer or that, I'll go to a petrol machine, or I wouldn't use 2mm, even though this machine, I've cut some long grass with it. But the 2mm has just made my edges so much neater, and I don't think I'm very bad at doing edges with a whippersnipper, but the quality has just upped another step. And I find it cuts much better than 2.4. Now, when you think about it, 2.4 and going to 2mm, that's 0.4 of a mil. It's not even half a mil. It's nothing, but the machine seems to be run a lot quieter. And this next point is the point of the video, and it's got to do with battery run times. I always use the BLI 300s, which is the 9.2 or 4 amp hour battery in there, which is the big Husky battery. That's one in there now. Now, people always say, what's the runtime like with the battery? Well, I've said before in videos, it's an unanswerable question, right? If I put this machine on now and held the trigger flat and wasn't cutting anything, the battery might run for an hour. But run it through grass and a bit of resistance, it's not going to last that long. And it's the thickness and the type of grass you're cutting and what you're actually doing with it that dictates how long the battery's going to last. But here's a real life example for you. I have two rather large lawns, and usually they're across the road from each other. This is what I'm telling you. I do them together, so I'll whippersnip both of them together. Now, usually I run out of that battery because there's a lot of trimming. When I'm out the front of the second house doing the nature strip, that battery will die. So that's how much trimming there is. Now, last week I did those two lawns and I had 2mm line in. Not only did I finish doing both the lawns without flattening the battery, I actually went to the next lawn, which was quite big too, and trimmed that whole lawn and still had power in the battery. So that's telling me that less resistance, less strain on the motor, 2mm cord has made heaps of difference. So I've taken a bit of note of through last week after I noticed that, and I have realised that you run 2mm cord in your battery machine and it will make a big difference to your run times. I'm not telling you to change. There's guys watching this video going to say, oh, this guy's full of shit, that's a load of garbage. Well, that's what I've found. And personally, I don't care what sort of line you run, what brand you run, because I think there's too much emphasis on that sort of thing, and there's not enough on the quality of work you're doing. You know, if you're digging a 30mm wide trench around your lawns with your whippersnipper, that's really not how to edge a lawn, right? A nice vertical, minimal gap, That's how you do it professionally. And if that's what you're aiming for, this video might be a bit of food for thought. You might, if you're running 2.7, you might don't drop to 2 mil. You'll hate it. Go to 2.4 and just see what you think, and leave me some comments. So, if you're doing this, I want to hear about it. And if you're running battery machines, I want to hear about it. Like I've read on Facebook pages, guys run 3 mil line in their battery machines, and I'm thinking, oh man, you're killing your machine. And 3 mil line, you don't need it. 3 mil line's all right for rough paddocks, if you're using a bull handle brush cutter. But trying to do a vertical edge with 3 mil line, I'm telling you, things can be a lot easier. And by changing your cord, and that's another thing, you have to change around and find the cord that suits you best. Some cords split really badly in the ends, which isn't really an issue, but some do. I think this stuff does a bit. I can't remember. I don't take that much notice, but some guys don't like that. You just got to try a few and find the cord that suits you best. Anyway, I just thought that'd be a little quick video, and I've gone for 11 minutes, but yeah, check it out, guys, and tell me what you think. See yous.